Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some more large wall art decor ideas. You guys loved the last video, so I have all new projects that we're doing today. You guys know I love to recreate home decor that's just crazy expensive. Anthropologie has this really cute mirror and it's got little white fringe on it, but it's $498, which is crazy expensive, and I knew I could recreate it for so much cheaper. So those supplies that I grabbed for this project, I grabbed a 15-inch mirror off of Amazon. I also grabbed some cardboard at Dollar Tree. If you had cardboard on hand, you could use that. I just needed something that was a little bit thinner, so I grabbed one of their little cardboard like poster things, I think that you use for like a science fair or a project. And then I also picked up 4 meters of white faux suede fringe off of Amazon. Don't worry, everything's linked for you down in the description box. And that's what I'm using for this project. It was honestly really easy to put together, so don't be intimidated by this project. I started by gluing my mirror onto my cardboard. Next, I wanted to cut out the cardboard, leaving about 1 inch between the edge of the cardboard and the mirror. Don't worry if this isn't completely exact because you're going to be covering it up with the fringe. Now, based on the fringe that I had enough to go around my mirror 3 times. So I started on the outside edge, and all I did was I took my fringe and I hot glued it down, trying to stay consistent around my cardboard, being about the same level. Once I got around the cardboard, once hot gluing it, I did another pass through the middle of the cardboard. The last fringe that I put on was the fringe that meets up with the mirror. So I put the fringe just at the edge of the mirror so that you couldn't see a gap and you couldn't see the cardboard. Now, because this is lightweight, you can put it on your wall pretty easily with some command strips. Just get more of the heavy duty command strips. I'll link those for you as well. I just put this on the wall in my home when you first come in. And then at the end, I took off the protector of the mirror. That way I didn't do it during the project and I didn't get all the little handprints on it. And here's a look at how this fringe mirror turned out. Let me know down in the comments how I did. Did I nail it, or do you still like the Anthropologie one better? For this next project, we're gonna do a pretty massive wall hanging. So I have been low-key working on a renovation for my master bedroom. It's going to come out on the channel, but it's going to take a while because we're doing a lot of things. Like, we had to get our ceilings fixed, we're redoing the floors. You're going to see it eventually, but it's one of those projects that's probably going to take us longer to do than most of our DIYs. I have a lot of large blank walls in my room, and I was watching the Dishonest Truth DIY. They have a great YouTube channel, and they did a project like this. Their project was the inspo for my project. So you want to grab a board. I actually grabbed one that was in my garage. It's a 1x2 board, and my board was 50 inches long. Next, I stained the board with a color called Golden Oak. It's been kind of my favorite color lately. So I'm just gonna wipe it on and then wipe off any excess with a paper towel. You could use any stain color for this. Next, I'm going to use one of my favorite little macrame yarns. I will link it down below for you as well. So I needed to get 200 pieces of macrame yarn. So what I did was I took some kind of heavy duty plastic. This is the plastic that are in those IKEA frames. And I just started to wrap the macrame around the plastic. You could do this with anything that you have on hand. It ended up, my length was about 31 inches, but really this is personal preference. So I wrapped it around about 50 times. Then I cut one side off and then I cut the other side off. So I took all the strings and made a little bundle. So I ended up having 4 bundles of 50 macrame strings. So I'm going to take one of my groupings and bend it in half. Then I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to tape off about, I would say, a little bit more than halfway up, maybe 3/4 of the way up. And this is going to help us when we go to paint. Now this is where you can really customize this project depending on the colors you like. So I went to Sherwin-Williams wanting to find a light blue and a dark blue color. I ended up grabbing Blustery Sky and Rainstorm, and I picked these up in samples. Whenever you buy samples, they're really inexpensive and it's the way to go. So next you're going to get a dish or a disposable little container, and I'm going to fill it up about halfway with water. Then I'm going to dump in my lighter paint color and I'm going to mix that around. Then I'm going to take each of my bundles and dip them into where the tape line is at. That way I have a consistent tape line for all of my dyeing. And this is a great way to dye your fabric. Now you want to make sure you get all of the pieces down in there. Let it set for a little bit, make sure they're coated, kind of pull it up, see if they're coated. If not, put it back in there for more. And then you're going to take it, pull it out, let all the excess drip off, and then you can put it over to dry. I had the same plastic that I used to wrap the cord and just let it sit out on that. Now I let this dry 24 hours before I came in with my darker color. So I did the same technique by adding in water with my dark color. Now when I did this, I realized that there wasn't a huge variation in the color, like it was very subtle. So what I decided to do was add in some black paint to make it a little bit darker. So I mixed the paint around. Now I did run into a problem whenever I started to dip. I realized that some of the black paint had settled to the bottom. And so if the pieces were touching the bottom, it was getting covered with black. So I had to be a little bit careful. So I suggest mixing it up better than I did. When I dip into the darker color, I'm not going to put it in all the way. I'm just going to put a little bit of the bottom portion in. Now, I wish that I would have gotten a really dark color. So that may be something, or my blue that I used at the beginning, maybe if it was a little bit lighter. So make sure your colors are really contrasting. So do that for all 4 of your colors and let them sit out to dry again. Again, I let this sit out a day. Then after a day, I removed the tape and they still needed some time to sit out. So I actually laid them out flat and gave them, probably at least a couple more hours to dry out before I did anything with them. Now, if you've seen any of my projects before where I've done this similar technique, I just laid out my board and then I'm going to take all of the strips and lay them out on the back of my board. Now, this does not have to be perfect. They do not have to be evenly spaced. Just do the best you can, kind of eyeball it. Then you're going to come through and hot glue every single piece down. Once you've hot glued, Now you have to come in, and if you have any pieces that are on the top, you want to cut those off. Now to hang this on the wall, I thought I'd be able to get away with command strips, and that's what I initially tried, but since it was a bigger piece, I ended up having to get hooks. So I recommend using like maybe some little picture hanger hooks on the back for this. But all you have to do is hang it up on your wall, then come in and cut off any excess at the bottom, like any pieces that kind of look weird. Mine actually did pretty well. I didn't have a ton of pieces that had any issues. But here is a look at how this wall hanging turned out. I can't wait to move it to my master bedroom and share that with you guys eventually. If you guys want to see some behind the scenes of what's going on with my master bedroom, make sure to go follow me on Instagram because I'm all the time posting stories and different things that I'm doing around the house. So make sure you go follow me. My name on Instagram is Liz Fenwick DIY. So my next piece, I was inspired to put this into my daughter's bedroom, but you could change the colors up and honestly put this anywhere. Honestly, the colors I used, you could probably use it pretty much anywhere. So I went to Lowe's and I picked up one of their half circles. And they have these half circles that are wood. I used my saw and I cut it down the middle. So I had two pieces. I'm only gonna be using one, so the other one I can use for a future project. So first I'm going to stain the wood using special walnut. I'm just going to put it on with a foam brush and immediately wipe off any excess. So I picked out 3 yarn colors that I thought would be great for this project. 2 of them were like a plum and lavender type color, and the other one was more of a beigey color. And then I went on the back of my piece and I measured off, so I had a little section in the middle, and then I measured out a couple of inches so I could have another little section. That way I knew where I needed to glue my yarn. So I took my first color and I'm gonna wrap it around one of my mats, and then I'll cut it off at the top and cut it off at the bottom. Then I'm going to take a bundle of the yarn and just hot glue it to the back. So I'm gonna start with the middle section. I'm gonna repeat that wrapping technique and cutting for the outsides, which are more of a beigey color. For the ends, I'm gonna use a light lavender color, so I'm gonna wrap it around, cut it, and hot glue it to the outside edge. Next, I'm gonna take my project and I'm gonna put it out flat on my table, kind of brushing it down. I want it to cut straight across, so I'm just going to pull the yarn down and cut it straight across the best that I can. Now to hang this on your wall, you just add a picture hanger to the back. And here's a look at this adorable wall hanging. My daughter Annabelle loves Harry Potter, and a few weekends ago, I did a little mini makeover on her closet where I painted it and added in some new storage. If you guys want to see that, I did a little TikTok on it. You can go watch my TikTok at Liz Fenwick DIY. We had this little blank wall, so she wanted a picture for it. So we went on Amazon and she found this Starry Night Harry Potter picture that she really wanted. We grabbed it off of Amazon and it was pretty inexpensive. To save money, I went to the thrift store for my frame. So I knew my exact measurements, and when I go to the thrift store, I bring my tape measure with me, and I was looking for a 12 by 18 frame. I ended up finding one that worked great, so I picked that up. The first thing I did was remove all the contents, and I also removed the glass. Then I came in and painted it with 2 coats of Waverly white chalk paint. Next, I put the Harry Potter picture back in, but the way that it was shipped, it was hard to lay flat. So I ended up actually having to use some painter's tape to hold it down as I was putting the picture in. Then I could put in the backing piece and just kind of push that down. And I just used a little nail and hung this in her closet, and she loves it. So next we're gonna make a little twine wall hanging with some items I grabbed from Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has these little wire wreath forms. So I grabbed one that was like the larger size and one that was the smaller size. I also picked up some floral wire. So I'm gonna take one of the larger size, one of the smaller size, and I'm gonna put them together, and I'm just gonna use some wire to twist them up and hold them together. Next, you're gonna need some twine. Now, any twine will really work for this project. And I'm gonna start by hot gluing the twine over my wire and hot gluing it probably every, 3 or 4 times that I go around. So I started just to wrap the twine around, trying to connect the 2 pieces. As I got to the middle section, I realized that I wanted it to not be completely covered. I wanted it to kind of be open and a little bit more sparse. So I started to try to pull the twine over as I was going. And then I just kept going. And then when I was at the open area, I only hot glued it every so once in a while. And I just kept wrapping it around until I got to the end. Hot gluing ever so often. When I was finished, I just kind of moved it around more to get it the way I like. And here's a look at how this piece turned out. Before you guys click off the video, I want to tell you about my giveaway that I'm doing. Recently, my channel hit 500,000 subscribers, and so to say thank you, I wanted to do a giveaway. So what am I giving away? First, I'm giving away the Cricut Joy. This is the new machine that Cricut has. It's awesome, I love it. So the person who wins will be getting this. I'm also going to be giving away a starter toolkit set and then some insert cards for the Cricut Joy. So if you want to enter, it's really easy. There'll be a link down in the description box. You can click on that and it'll take you where you can sign up to enter the giveaway. I'll also have some ways where you can gain additional entry by following me on social, and I will pick the winner in a week and contact them directly via email. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. It's totally free. And if you missed our last project, I'll link it here for you, and I'll talk to you guys in our next one. Bye.